Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for another movie review today. Today I'm going to be reviewing another Star Wars movie today, guys, and today I'm going to be reviewing the second installment of the Star Wars original trilogy, released in 1980, which is known as Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Or The Empire Strikes Back, whatever you want to call it, but yeah. The Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest movies in cinematic history. It's an absolutely beautiful, spectacular movie, and yeah, it's simply glorious. It truly is, and it's my favourite movie that came out in 1980 as well, and yeah. And it's easily my number two, second favourite Star Wars movie of all time, right after Return of the Jedi. So yeah. And I'm going to gush about why I love Empire Strikes Back so much. So, without spoilers, so yeah, now, I mean, you probably know the story anyway, but yeah, so I probably will mention a few of them, but yeah. Okay, so, this story takes place 3 years after A New Hope, and the Galactic Empire is hunting the Rebel Alliance throughout the galaxy, while Darth Vader relentlessly pursues Luke Skywalker's friends Han Solo, Princess Leia and Chewbacca. Luke studies the Force on a Jedi Master Yoda to prepare himself for his upcoming confrontation with Vader. So yeah, that's pretty much like a synopsis of the film basically, and yeah, it's like an absolute masterpiece. Empire Strikes Back. It truly is so spectacular. What do I love about it so much? I think the effects and the stunts, they really do hold up to this day. Definitely, they're really great and really enjoyable to watch. And yeah, it's very good. So, in terms of performances, once again, I adored Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. I like how in the story Luke is developing more and he's starting to learn the ways of the Force a lot more this time, which is great. And it was very good to see him being trained. Once again, loved Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Absolutely. He was great in the role. Definitely. Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, as Leia. She'll always be Princess Leia no matter what. And in this movie, she was definitely a great, she had a great performance. Once again, really, really adored James Earl Jones, my favourite Star Wars voice actor, as Darth Vader. Like, I think in this film, he showed a lot more of the menacing persona of Vader. Like, he was absolutely incredible. And, of course, I've got to give props to David Prowse for playing him in costume. And, of course, rest in peace, yeah. And also to a stunt double who doubled Darth Vader in the fight scenes, called Bob Anderson. Yeah. I also, once again, loved Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker as 3PO and R2. Even though they don't really share much scenes together in this movie due to them being separated during the Battle of Hoth, they were both, great characters, absolutely. I also really loved Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, and of course, rest in peace. He was great in this film, and I like how both he and Han, of course, had more screen time in A New Hope as well. I was very happy about that. Now, in terms of character additions, I really, really loved Billy Dee Williams as Lando Calrissian. Lando Calrissian is a really amazing character in this movie, and he was really great. I wish he had more screen time though, because sadly he doesn't appear until like way over an hour into a movie, which is why I like him more in Return of the Jedi, due to having more screen time and a much bigger role. But for what he was worth, he was definitely a great addition to the cast in this film. I also really adored the legendary Frank Oz as Yoda. Yoda is like one of my favourite Jedis of all time. He was absolutely great. And I've also got to give props not just to Mr. Oz, but also to the other puppeteers who assisted him in puppeteering the Yoda puppet. But yeah, the puppet they used was really good. It was really amazing, and I don't get why they didn't use that same puppet in the original version of The Phantom Menace, really, to be honest. Because I couldn't stand that puppet they used. The puppet in this was much better, really. And they could have, painted it with, like, makeup to make Yoda look younger, but still, they could have used the same puppet, definitely. And, I also, as well, definitely loved I like how Sir Alec Guinness got to appear as Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force spirit. And I'm glad that this movie clarified what happened to him, because we never saw him physically again after Darth Vader appeared to have beheaded him in A New Hope. So luckily they clarified in this film that he was a spirit. And yeah, and he lives on as being one with the Force. Now, on to honourable mentions of my favourite scenes in the film. I loved the Battle of Hoth. The Battle of Hoth was an absolutely epic battle. Like, it was simply glorious. It was very good. And yeah, absolutely epic. And, you know, I like to rewatch that scene several times. I also really loved the scenes with Luke being trained by Yoda, because I love how that developed his character. They did it so well. But my overall favourite scene in the entire film, guys, is definitely the duel between Darth Vader and Luke in Cloud City. Like, it was brilliant, it was very well choreographed, and I do also believe that, apart from a couple of a few stunts, Mark Hamill did about 95% of his own stunts, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, they did so well with the choreography, it was brilliant. And the atmosphere was also perfect for the scene as well, you know, so dark, it was absolutely brilliant. Flowed so well. But yeah, and I think the highlights of this movie is probably what I consider to be one of the greatest plot twists ever in cinematic history, which is when Darth Vader reveals to Luke that he's his father, and Luke thought that his father had been killed by Vader, when really all this time Vader was the father. So yeah, absolutely, you know, it's just shell-shocking, isn't it, really? And another thing that I did also like was the appearances by my favourite bounty hunter, Boba Fett. Boba Fett was really awesome in this movie. He only has about 4 lines, but still was great. And I did also like the cameo appearance by Palpatine as well, the Emperor. Now, you guys probably wondering, you know, do I like the 1980 original version more, or the 2004 Special Edition? Well, I'm going to confirm that I do like the 2004 Special Edition way more than 1980. Because, now, with regards to Palpatine in the 1980 special, I absolutely could not stand the design, where it's basically, you know, he had chimpanzee eyes, like, oh my god. And I will say that I didn't really like Clive Revel's voice that much, because he sounded so bland. But I do know that Clive Revel had no idea what Palpatine looked like when recording the voice. So I think, if he looked at a photograph of how Palpatine would look, he'd have probably put in much more effort and gave him much more better performance. But sadly, that was not the case. So yeah, that's why I very much prefer Ian McDiarmid by far. Like, he is far better. With regards to Boba Fett, now don't get me wrong, guys, I think Jason Wingreen had a very menacing performance as the voice of Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back's 1980 version, but I very much prefer Tamora Morrison's voice far more, because it makes it much more consistent with the prequels in that way, because the prequels confirm that Boba Fett is an unmodified clone of Jango Fett, so it makes perfect sense that he'd have the same voice as his adoptive father. So yeah, it makes perfect sense, really. And I don't know why people would hate that change so much, really. Because how can they explain why Tamora Morrison turns into Jason Wingreen? Yeah, explain that. So yeah. Now, you guys probably wondering as well, you know, why is this film my second favourite after Return of the Jedi and not my favourite? So yeah, there's several reasons, you know, why it's not my favourite Star Wars movie, and I'm going to explain. Now, don't get me wrong, guys, I still love it. It's my second favourite of all time, but yeah. What I don't like is, one thing that I definitely did not like was, I didn't like how, in Lando's final scene of the film, he's wearing Han Solo's clothes. Like, I don't know why he had to wear those clothes, because he's got his Cloud City outfit to wear. Like, oh my god. Like, this is why I would definitely agree with, you know, Family Guy's version of this, you know, when you know, Brian / Chewbacca asks, you know, why wearing Han's clothes. So, yeah. That just didn't make any sense whatsoever. And also as well, guys, I would also agree with Starkiller 5555 that Luke should have used some Force abilities during his duel with Darth Vader, because he never did. He only relied on his lightsaber. He did not bother using the Force at all, despite, you know, being trained how to use the Force by Yoda. Like, he didn't do like a Force push or anything like that. Nothing. Just the lightsaber. But don't get me wrong, guys, it was still very well choreographed and very intense. It was great for what it was, but yeah. And another thing that I didn't really like as well was, you know, You know the scene where, you know, Luke falls out the window and he's hanging onto the edge? Like, I don't understand why, you know, Darth Vader, you know, just looked at Luke and then walked away. Like, why did he walk away? Because, you know, like, he could have, you know, just stood there and said his speech to Luke about, you know, there is no escape, don't make me destroy you, and, you know, join me and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. Like, he'd have saved the trouble of having to duel him much later, and Luke could have probably escaped if Vader walked off, couldn't he? But luckily he didn't, because Vader caught up to him, you know, further down into the city. But yeah, why didn't Vader just, you know, say his monologue to Luke about, you know, there is no escape in that moment when Luke was hanging? Because Luke couldn't escape, you know, if Vader was there, you know, watching over him. Like, you know, why did Vader walk away? Yeah, explain that. Now, there is also another positive mention I've got to give to this movie is the music, because I really adored John Williams' soundtrack. It was absolutely perfect. And I love the addition of the Imperial March, which is regarded as Darth Vader's theme, and it pretty much is, really. Something which I wish was in A New Hope, but sadly was not. This is the first film in which Imperial March was composed, and yeah, it was, you know, a perfect addition, and it's like my favourite villain theme of all time. Truly is. I just love that theme so much. Like, it was absolutely perfect in every way. Absolutely wonderful. But yeah. Now, if you're wondering what I'd score this movie, guys, out of 10, just like the rest of the original trilogy, guys, I give this movie a flat-out 10 out of 10. I think it's absolutely perfect and wonderful. Yeah, I really do love this movie so much. Yeah, it's a great film, and yeah, it holds a very special place in my heart because I used to rewatch all the time like I did with the originals, and it's absolutely perfect. So yeah. So guys, this is me reviewing my second favourite Star Wars movie of all time, being The Empire Strikes Back. So you know a drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys think of The Empire Strikes Back. I'll see what your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join the Team Primer by pressing subscribe for more videos coming in the future. And may the Force be with you always.